Good evening, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight?
All right.
All right, well, just to let you know, my name is Chris. I'm actually one of the co-founders, of HauntingLIVE Podcast / OGPS Filming. Tonight, we're actually here, on location, at the Queen's Inn here in Stratford, Ontario. I'm actually sitting here with this fabulous young lady, and you are?
I am the queen of Ooga Booga, Sally Diane.
So, Sally, can you start... So, Sally, can you start explaining about what you are lately doing from the last time that you were actually on our podcast?
Okay, so now I'm doing readings from the spa near the tracks, but I have started my own YouTube channel, The Queen of Ooga Booga. Well, actually, I'm just the talent. It's actually the brainchild of my producer, who always makes me look good, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I am making a few things. I know that the guests in our audience have some of my pixie dust. Is it okay if I talk about that now?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, and there will be a video coming up about the pixie dust, but it's got frankincense and myrrh, and it's got lavender oil and sandalwood oil, and that's why it's got that scent, and you can see like little bits of powder in it. It smells wonderful, and it's got glitter and rhinestone and sequins for the pixies.
All right, so what does it do really?
It brings blessings to everybody in your house, and folks, it really works. It's awesome stuff. You just take a pinch, like a pinch of salt that you might put in your stew, a pinch that size, and you just put a few grains in every corner of your house, and then toss the rest out your front door, and it brings blessings to everybody in your house.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I have a few other varieties that are for sale over there. We have the Red Hot Lover.
Yep.
And we have Prosperity. Oh yeah, the Red Hot Lover. Listen to everybody. And then we have something called Ghost Be Gone, and Ghost Be Gone is like protection from evil or malevolence, whether it's by a spirit or by a person.
Yeah. All right. So that's what we actually have tonight. If you guys want to be able to get some, you can actually be able to go through probably the Queen of Ooga Booga's YouTube page or even her Facebook page directly and actually be able to ask for it. She would be able to get some for you guys directly. Now, for those that don't know much, though, that weren't tuning in in our last episode with you, which was not that long ago, can you start explaining about your history with the spiritual world? And I'll explain about mine.
Okay, well, golly, that goes back a long ways. I've read the tarot since I was 15 years old, which was just yesterday, I swear. Anyhow, it was some 50 years ago. So I read the tarot. I do teach workshops. I actually have some of my students here. I haven't taught any in a while because of, everything that's been going on. But I do readings, and I have for a long time. And then there's the Ooga Booga stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'll make stuff like the pixie dust and people out.
All right. And then for myself, though, I've been actually, what I say, more active within the spiritual world ever since the age of 6. My very first encounter, I woke up from a dream, and I was living in a bungalow. So my parents' room was across the way from mine. I pinched myself actually in the middle of the night to see if I was awake. What us normal little children usually do. And actually, I saw 2 spirits rise from the bottom of the floor, come through, stand in front of my door, and actually were speaking with each other, and then floated upwards. I've grown very strong, and also one thing that a lot of people don't realize: Sally and I were cousins from far back history. So it's like so. Does anybody have any questions so far, by any chance? No. All right.
What was it? It was 3 or 4 years ago that we did the seance. We did a seance in the Queen Victorian room, which is the next room over, and they had all the neat stuff, all the gauges and what have you. And we were going to put up there's a gauge that has a bar of lights that goes across, and the more the lights go across, the more spiritual activity there would be. And we thought that would be cool to put in the shot during the seance, so it would be like right up on the post and people could see it. But until you got about this high off, the gauge was just way to the max. just all the way in the red.
Yeah, yeah. Do we want to sort of explain afterwards, sort of what happened with one of the rooms upstairs?
Oh my goodness. And you could tell them.
All right, all right. We actually had one girl that was actually sort of working with us. She said that she was more in tune with the spiritual world. And we actually had, at the time, the Radio Shack hack, actually, the spirit box going. For those that don't know what it is, though, what it is, so it's actually created sort of like an old radio, altered and reinstalled and all that. So it actually goes forwards. And we actually had one girl coming actually into the room. She's like, "Oh, I'm not scared of anything." The thing turned around and said, "I am Pinckney." Right? And as soon as it said that, she was right down here. She was almost out the door. So yeah, so the Pinckney area, which Sally will explain to you guys shortly, is actually a very haunted area. We actually have one crew here tonight, actually basically from the Niagara region. They were last night actually investigating actually on the Pinckney floor area, and they were experiencing stuff actually within that area. So while we're talking about explaining about the history about the Queens.
Of the Queens?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the Queens was built in 1858 by Robert Johnson, and he owned it, well, I think it was in the 1850s, and he owned it until the 1860s, and he sold it to J.C. Curry. And any of you Stratfordites, if that's ringing bells, it's because it's a name that's chiseled on the Huron Street Bridge. He was a civil engineer, and he built bridges in the area. And he also haunts the basement. And the basement is part of the original building. And so it was there when Curry was here. And I always like to think that he stands at the laundry room, the doorway of the laundry room. And anybody who's ever stood in the laundry room and folded clothes will tell you there's somebody in the door watching me. And yes, there is. He's harmless. There's another one in the basement that's not so harmless, but we'll talk about him later. Yep. But then you go on to Mr. Curry's son. And when the Currys owned this building, it was a frame building. And Fred, and he made it like the best place in Stratford, the best place in Perth County. And in 1905, the building burnt to the foundation. And so he rebuilt it in its current resurrection, if you will. And this is the neoclassical style, the brick building of this building, and that was what Fred Curry chose. It was very popular at the time. I'm not so sure that he really bonded with it, because he rebuilt it in 1905. He'd lived with the hotel all his life, and yet after he rebuilt it, he sold it about 10 years later to the Pinckney family. And he moved on. The Pinckneys and the Pinckneys are really the ones that have left the impression on this hotel. The father who bought the hotel, he ran it for about, I think it's 10 or 15 years before his son took it over. And both father and son were named David Pinckney, but it wasn't a junior senior thing. Their middle names were different. But when David Pinckney Jr. took over the hotel around 1930, I think it was, he was a pillar of the community. And the more research I do on David Pinckney, the more impressed I am by this guy. He was, there's actually a hockey award named after him. So even to this day, he's remembered. And he was an enthusiast of the ponies. But anyhow, Pinckney, his spirit is the one that really resonates through the hotel, especially on the wing of the 210 wing of the hotel. And that's where there is a lot of activity. In one room, there's a mirror where there's what I would call an echo. It's harmless, but people will wake up in the middle of the night and they'll see somebody in the mirror walking toward them and then turning away and walking away. And for some reason, it really trips people out. I had one lady who left lady, I'd say she was probably about 15 or 16, but she came through the lobby at like 5 in the morning, and her feet were moving, and they did not quit moving. She comes by the front desk and looks at me and says, "Did anybody ever die here?" And I'm going, I guess so. It's been here a long time. She says, "Well, tell my friends I went for a walk." And as she went out the door, she was mumbling something about the mirror. So I looked in the book, and yeah, she was in that room.
That's it.
And then there's, of course, the Pinckney Suite.
Yep.
And
that we're actually in, which is gorgeous.
it is, and that was one of Mr. Pinckney's favorite spots in the hotel. It's up in the air whether that wing of the hotel or room 207, which is in this area of the hotel, is where the Pinckneys lived. But the Pinckneys lived in this building for many years. There's another ghost I had to run in, and she also lived in this building for many years, and that would be Elsie Deal. And we are sitting in one of Elsie Deal's favorite rooms. This one and the one over, and that's where she is the most active. And I actually saw her full on one day. I was in front of the front door, and this is when I worked the overnight shift here. And in the middle of the winter, there was nobody, just me. And I rolled up the mat, and I could see this flash coming out of this door and going that way. And it was a lady in a blue dress, so of course I chased her around the corner. Nothing. She just disappeared. And all the rest of that night, she dogged me. She moved stuff around, and she actually opened that door over there as I was walking through the room, which was helpful, but a little...
Now I know with Elsie, though, that you were saying something about the coffee pot, though.
Oh, yeah, she moved the coffee pot on me and just made a big flood. What a mess.
So...
she was a little hungry for attention, I think.
Yeah. So, all right. So now I know right when we've actually filmed here in the past, we've actually taken some people throughout the tour, and also people have actually been able to watch that. We're going to link that down below, actually, right when we do the editing. But just now, actually, imaging the second and third floor. All right. Can you start explaining the energy actually on that landing?
Oh, up there?
Yeah.
Where the cushy chair is?
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard that's Betty. And she was the head of housekeeping for many, many years here, and we all love Betty. And when she passed, you just got to know that a piece of her was going to be here. And she's a very comforting soul. If you feel a little lonely in the middle of the night, just go on that landing and sit in that chair.
All right.
See if Betty will talk to you.
All right. Now the dome room. That's actually here. What's the old legend about that room?
I don't know. What is it?
All right. So there is the dome room actually here, and the thing that's how we work. So basically, those Trevor and I, we actually stayed in that room the one night, and what we came to though is the lady actually hung herself actually within that room, and also there used to be a shower location with a bathtub, and the lady actually drowned herself actually in the bathtub within the dome room location of the Queen's Inn Hill Hotel. The Queen's Inn, again, though, like what Sally was saying, does hold a lot of rich history and also hauntings. So, who here, the audience, has actually been staying here and actually has had an experience?
Oh, tell me. Oh, goody.
Today it wasn't, we both saw it, and the lamp was not on. We got back from Lucan we went and found Duncrief. And it was sitting, and I was looking over at the bed, and there was like a little blast of light, like a ball of light, and it was gone. And I'm like, and she goes, I saw it at the corner of my eye. And I said, it was not the lamp, because the lamp's been off since last night. So it's just a weird ball of light that.
Yeah, something happened in the room below you back when, I talked about when we did the seance. One of the psychics I brought with me, Lynn Stevenson, we had a camera set up in the Pinckney suite, and we had it aimed at her, and it was just for a test to see how the light was, and when we played the video back, you could see a mist like this, and then just right in front of her as she was talking, and when she was done talking, the mist went away.
So, and also I saw a hand way in the back.
I've had a few experiences, including one that happened today since I've been here. One, I took a picture in the Pinckney suite, and on the corner of the bed, there's a little depression in it with a blurry spot where it just couldn't focus on the bed. We figured Mr. Pinky was in there. Today, when I went to pay for my bill outside, at the bottom of the steps, you could see the gentleman, he was just kind of standing there, looking up the steps, watching people pay their bill. Just kind of very curious.
And who was that by any chance?
That was, the son, was David.
Was it Fred?
No, Fred would have been Curry.
Curry, I mean Curry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the son.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was him. It was a slender man. Just
Yeah.
kind of leaning there, just kind of watching people pay their bill.
So, has anybody else had any experiences while you guys have been here?
I did. Last night, it was like maybe 1:30 in the morning. They were both passed out, snoring. But I was up and just out of nowhere, I kind of heard our bathroom door creak open, and our bathroom door isn't quiet because it's an old room. And I heard it creak open, and I didn't really think much of it, but it wasn't really like a negative energy. It kind of like was like, okay, I heard that, and it's still soothing. It wasn't like, okay, that freaked me out, and now I'm like up. But yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the ghosts on the second and third floor are pretty well behaved.
Yeah, we're on the third floor.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
The ones around here are pretty well behaved too. You know, Elsie has a sense of humor, but we're pals now.
Yeah.
But the ones in the basement, oh my goodness. There's one in the basement that I just call Mr. Creepy Pants.
So, that's like a.
Yeah, well, we caught him because they set up one of these light grid things. Remember that? And you caught Mr. Creepy Pants.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a story about Mr. Creepy Pants?
Well, it's just so basically though. Do you mind if I explain?
Go ahead.
All right. So the legend and the stories have though is Mr. Creepy Pants actually likes to be able to watch the housekeepers and even staff members actually down in the laundry room be able to fold their clothing.
No, that's Mr. Curry.
Okay. All right. And that's Mr. Curry. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, so as I was down there actually not that long ago, so before everything went down for COVID-19. Actually, I was brought downstairs, and actually, I could feel him. It like my hair is actually on my arms really standing. So
Yeah, there's a presence down there, the one that I call Mr. Creepy Pants. Well, my one friend, when she comes in, when she walks past the boar's head, she says that's when she feels him the most. But as I've said here, and as you guys know, I work here, and I've been down in the basement in the middle of the night where it's just me and the ghosts, and I don't mind Mr. Curry.
yeah.
You know, I just recite poetry and sing a little to him, and he's fine. But the other one, I'll tell you, this is part of the basement I don't even like to go to. It's just that bad. And there was one time when I literally got pushed down there. I know I was pushed, and I hit the floor but hard. I was a little tappy.
It's cement down there.
Yeah, and I managed to get my way up, and I went into the bathroom and looked, and I had this big square lump right there on my forehead, and I've still got a chip on my shoulder about that.
So, yeah.
But that he throws boxes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
If you ask
Not
some
nice.
of the bartenders here, even the restaurant that's actually over the boar's head about
they
the
all got
basement,
stories about
they
him.
actually have stories. Some of the staff members there also for housekeeping, they also have stories. So, so basically though is for Stratford, Ontario. How well do you guys know Stratford by any chance?
All my life.
All right. What about for you guys by any chance? Anything else? You guys know Stratford quite well?
About 13 years.
All right. Well, I'm going to sort of let you guys know about one story here. The train station. This train station, which is actually just down here at Waterloo and actually Downey Street. Sir Isaac used to work down there. All right, his location right where he used to live, which is actually Ontario Street, not too far away from here, roughly two blocks down. Anyways, he was working there one night. Legend has it though that, and this is actually written up actually as artifacts. Anyways, he was working there the one night, and he actually fell asleep at work. There was two trains coming the opposite way. So one was coming from London, the other one was coming from Toronto area. So he forgot to switch the tracks. Two tracks actually came towards each other, hit each other, and exploded. There was large area of houses and a lot of the factories out that area that got demolished. So actually, the train station is actually well known to be haunted down that way. The old legend has it though that Sir Isaac's actually face death mask is actually in there. I would like to be able to go in there and check it out, but unfortunately, there's only certain set times so that they're allowed to be open. Another one though is actually to do with the Avon River. Who here has actually walked by the Avon River from Huron, Ontario, down to the Avon Cemetery? Has anybody done that? Okay, just to let you know, the nurses actually used to have a school here in Stratford, Ontario. It used to be right behind the hospital. What they used to do though is they used to go to the cemetery, dig up fresh corpses, do autopsies. One student actually decided to actually do an autopsy actually on one of the corpses. He did not actually do anything proper. He actually got the head separate, didn't put it back in. All right, so the river actually from the Huron down to the Avon, there's a spirit actually walking down there with actually no head. In 1984 that they did actually drain that area, and they actually found actually a human skull actually within that area, within the river. Another actually legend has it is actually here in Stratford, Ontario. There's a spirit down by the Thompson, actually Patterson, actually pond that likes to actually walk up and down. It is a female. So with this female, she actually likes to walk up and down because she actually had a heartbreak down that area. So that is actually her last place that she committed suicide. One famous other location actually here in Stratford is the jail location. Who here knows right where the jail is by any chance?
I do.
All right.
Not that I've been in the jail. But I do know where it is.
Yeah. So basically, though, they actually had a great fire going actually on. They forgot to actually let one actually area actually of the jail actually out, and a couple of guys did perish. Actually, residents today, since the jail is still active, they can actually sense the spirit actually within inside there. There's a couple of them. The other legend has it though is if you're looking down on Ontario Street, down towards the courthouse, which is right on Ontario Street, down towards Huron, Ontario. If you look up top, the clock tower, up towards the bell, there is a legend actually of a female there. So, Sally, can you explain about that?
Oh, well, I'm not the only one that sees her. She just watches down Ontario Street. I don't know who she's looking for, but she just watches down Ontario Street.
Yeah.
Not all ghosts are interesting.
So true.
Some are just pretty.
Yeah. And also there is actually an underground tunnel here in Stratford, Ontario. Now the Stratford tunnel does actually basically start at the Shakespeare Gardens area, goes all the way out towards Romeo Cafe. And there is a spot actually here actually at the Queen's Inn. Now how we know that though is because right when we were doing the seance a couple years ago, actually we were all able to pick up to do with the tunnel. And Sally actually picked up to do with actually what the tunnel was also used for. Remember that?
Vaguely.
Also here, and also that the tunnels were also used for bootlegging, which is a great rich history here in Ontario, Canada. So those are some of the stories actually of Stratford, Ontario. There's a lot of great rich history all throughout Stratford. It doesn't matter right where you walk or turn, you never know exactly who's actually there. And also within the lower end of knows right where Listowel, Ontario is. All right. So the old story is though that they at one time thought Jack the Ripper was actually here in Stratford, Ontario, because there were so many murders that actually happened, sort of like what Jack the Ripper did. The gentleman that actually caused it actually kidnapped actually a young student, like a young female, actually from Listowel, brought her down here, killed her at the Avon Cemetery, the lower end. And so the little girl spirit haunts the very bottom end of the Avon Cemetery. And the guy though that actually that they thought was Jack the Ripper found out that he was not. He was actually hung here in Stratford at one time. Yeah. So there was actually hanging here in Stratford quite a bit. And now to date, basically though, is Stratford and Listerville do not fully get along. It's all because of this actually incident that happened a long time ago.
McCoys.
That's true.
You know, there is a story about the Queens, and it's one of my favorites, and it has nothing to do with ghosts. It has to do with the name of a room, the Edinburgh Lounge. And the Edinburgh Lounge was named after the Duke of Edinburgh. Apparently, he came to Perth County the 10 minutes that was dry, so he couldn't get whiskey, and he complained bitterly. So when the dry spell ended and we could sell alcohol again, we opened up the Edinburgh Lounge, which of course it used to be a regular bar, and we named it after the Duke of Edinburgh. And he could have come back and had more whiskey. Come on back. He's still alive. Come on back. Come see us. We'll buy you a shot.
Yeah. So any questions actually online tonight?
Nothing yet for questions, but we have quite a few watching already, so that's good.
Welcome everybody. Welcome. So if you guys have any questions online, please let us know. Trevor will be able to actually ask them. Even actually for the podcast, it's not podcast, but for the video that's actually going to be actually up for the Queen of Ooga Booga. All right. If there is any questions whatsoever, please actually ask them. Queen will be glad to get back to you. So, all right. So I'm noticing though that actually the Queen's shuffling cards. All right. So the Queen actually has a set of cards there. What type of cards do you have by any chance?
My cards are the medieval Scapini deck, and I love this deck because it's beautiful and it fits the medieval theme. But there are so many literary and artistic and historical references in these cards. You know, the artist really took his time, and the book that he wrote explained why he chose certain characters in his drawings. And so I just like that deck. I like the look of it. Would somebody like a card drawn for them? Okay. And you are? Sue. Sue, lovely Sue. And what's your question? You're going through, well, sorry, I already started. I see that you're going through a recovery period. Were you sick over the spring?
No.
Yeah, because it just shows that you're going through a healing period in life. Does that resonate with you?
So
Yeah.
my husband was off work for quite a while with COVID, but he just started back.
Oh, so you are work. Okay.
Yep. So that does relevant.
Somewhat, yes.
Yep.
Well. Okay, so he's still got. That was just like right dead center, and you tell me that your husband had COVID. Yeah, that is that sort of thing.
You didn't have a bed in this time period.
He wasn't working, so he's still recovering from that, and he's still recovering emotionally too. You know, but it is a healing period. It shows that one of the things that works against you, of course, is that it was destabilizing. You know, so that there's that lack of stability. But what works for you is even more powerful because it's one of the major arcana cards. So it's one of the top keys in its judgment, and it talks about moving ahead. You know, even in bad times. Especially in bad times, if you keep your head about you, there's always opportunity to be had. And look for opportunity to present itself to you. So 2020 might not be as crappy as the year as you think it's going to be.
So, if anybody's watching right now, if you guys won't have any questions at all, feel free to actually type in. Trevor will be able to reply back to us, or even actually again, though, actually on the Queen of the Ooga Booga is actually that'd be wonderful. So
You have 3 people that would like our reading online so far.
Okay, so
Do you want to start with the first one?
well, I did the last one. You do the next one.
First one is for Shirley.
Shirley, okay. Great. So the reason why though that we're doing actually 3 is because actually for myself though that's an even number, but past, present, and future. So Okay, so basically, I picked up the 10 of wands right there, and it's actually of a guy that's journeying actually down the path. So basically, you're basically trying to figure out right where to go actually within your life, exactly what road you're going to take. But the thing though is this one here, which is actually the sun, and it's actually one of the good ones. Now the thing though is, I don't know if you guys can see it actually on camera, but it is actually of two men working actually together. So that way you're going to actually be able to work actually on your life directly, exactly find out what pathway is going to be a little bit better for you. It's exactly what it's going to go. Now the other thing though is, most people think this one here is actually to do with death and everything else. It is called the death card, but unfortunately it's not really about death. What it's going to go though is actually one of your journeys actually in life though, it is going to be coming to a close, so that way you can move on actually on to your next future and be able to move actually on. So
Well, thank you, Shirley. And who's next, Trevor?
That was Shirley's that we just did, so next one is going to be for Brenda.
Brenda. Okay.
thing is, I don't have Brenda's because I know Brenda.
Brenda Starr. Ooh. Okay, Brenda. You've got a lot of emotionality happening around you, which is, it's a two-edged sword. It's both good and bad that you have all these emotions running around you, but it might be a good time for you to focus on meditation and maybe a little bit of perspective. And also it's a good time for you to take the long view, because even though I'm seeing all this emotionality, and that's why I focused in on first, what I see coming up for you the most is the Lover's card, which is a really, really, really good card. Look for relationships to start going much better for you. And whatever emotionality you're feeling in the short term, just power through it, because the long-term vision is really good for you. Okay? I think that the next maybe 4 to 6 weeks might be a little, it comes back to that emotionality thing, and it's just emotions. You're okay. So don't react to them. If you feel like weeping, grab a box of Kleenex, but don't change your life because you're on a good path. You'll be glad that you stayed on it. Thank you so much.
So
next we have Sue, who requested Sally.
Sue.
you got a request. That's awesome.
I did. Okay, Sue. So shuffle them up good for you. Thank you for feeding my ego. Okay, so Sue, right now, I know you might feel a little uncertainty right now because it feels like you're not getting exactly the kind of support you need at this point in time. And the trick is that this is a good time for you to choose your own way and not let other people tell you how to think or how to feel. It doesn't work for you right now. You've already gone through a period of loss, so I think you might be feeling a little fragile about that. But when I look overall in the direction you're headed, you've got the 10 of coins, which is a really positive card, and that's in the positive of your life. The thing that works for you is that overall you've got some long-term stability around your house and around your relationship. So basically you can move forward with confidence. Anything that's happening right now is, again, short term. You get a period of 2, and a reminder to me that you are healing, and you might not have a lot of faith in the direction you're headed. Keep heading in it anyway. Okay.
Is there any more?
Yes, we have Pam, who would like you read.
Okay. It's all right. It's all right. I'm so used to it. So.
Okay,
Getting all the requests tonight. So.
I am. Yes.
So we
I'm
do
just
say,
going to be insufferable tonight.
and we do say thanks a lot for tuning in tonight.
Very much. Okay, Pam. Let's see what's going on in Pam's life. Card number 1. Huh. Well, Pam, you're definitely in a growth period in your life. Yeah, that one rings true. I think you've got new life coming into your life. You're dealing there's pregnancy issues on the go around you. You know, Pam, fates are working for you right now. I know that you've made some decisions in the short term, and we might be looking at stuff you made before the world turned upside down, because right now you're kind of second guessing some of the decisions that you've made in the past. And the Justice card says it just to you're like everybody else. You just got to keep your faith there. You didn't make a bad decision. You made a decision. Okay, what the cards are telling me, there is no good or bad decision there. You made a decision and stick with it. It tells me that you will come into balance in your life. You've got a lot of new things coming in. When I look forward maybe about 3 months, and I'm getting the feeling actually more than 3 months, around November, December, you're going to find that you'll feel a little bit better about yourself, because that's about the time when I see you getting the rewards for some of the sacrifices that you've made in the short term. So thank you for tuning in, Pam.
And we have another one online from April, so maybe Chris would like to.
Yeah, I'll do it for you, April, love. All right. So, is there anything precisely, April, that you sort of want to know about? Since I know you too well, please type it in. Whoa, that card was actually there for a reading. So I'll be able to get it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, the 9 of Swords.
Yeah.
Whatever she's
Is there
losing
anything else
sleep
from
over.
April? No? Okay, all right. So April, I'm going to do your reading for you.
Can I just make one comment?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Whatever she's losing sleep over isn't worth it.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Actually, I know her.
He knows her.
I know her personally, so. Okay, so basically those I picked up again, though, is actually the sun, which is directly to do with actually the two men working actually together. Right, so April, this is about your mother. All right, I know that you're working strongly with your mother, actually all together. All right, so nothing to be worried about. You guys are actually building a strong foundation actually all together. Now the next one I picked up, which is actually the sun and night. All right, now this one here, all right, again, those like what Sally said, don't let it bother you. All right, things are going to work out fine, especially with the area though that you're living. Now the next thing though is later on down the future. All right, it shows actually started with a wedding. All right, later down the road, the guy though that you're with directly, all right, he will actually officially marry you. I know since I know you too well right now. So that's like so those are what I've actually got for the cards. So
Our next question is from Lori. It is from Chris. She's turning 65 this year and is wondering if her life is going to change in any significant way.
all right, well, I would say right away it will change, but actually more positive than anything. Right? Nothing to be worried about, Laura, at all. So let's see what the cards say. Whoops, wrong way. So I got though the Fool. All right. So the Fool altogether actually has a gentleman looking actually about traveling. All right. So basically, those you're not too sure exactly which way you're going to go actually within your life. Things are going to be pretty fine with that. Next one I picked up, which is actually the Sage of Cups. Now the Sage of Cups actually has a fighting. All right. You're going to be actually fighting exactly which way you're going to go within your life. Nothing to be worried about that one. Now the next one though is actually, it's a comical one. It's of a guy that's actually on roller skates, not roller skates, but actually on a skateboard, being dragged by dogs. Now with this one here directly though is basically though you're going to learn exactly which way though that you're being pulled. So nothing to be much worried about. So you're going to actually, again, those with the not with the cards, but with your own life though. Actually 65, that's the new 56, just like today's my birthday. So
Happy birthday!
thank you. So yeah, so no matter what, 65, I still say you're young at heart. So.
Okay, so let's do some readings from some of the people around here. Oh, do me. Okay, so who wants? Okay, sure.
So like I'm not really familiar with this, so I just asked like something that I'd like to know. Okay, I'd like to know about my future and like maybe something that I will.
Something what?
Like something my future that I will.
Sure. Let's see. Okay, so the first card that comes up is Nine of Cups, and that's like the operative card here. And in my Nine of Cups, it shows a path, and that really rings true for you because you really haven't found your thing yet, but you're learning along the way. You know, so it's kind of like sooner or later you'll do calculus, but right now you're working on algebra. So you don't exactly see where your life path is leading you, but I see that you've already gone through most of the background. Pardon my French, can I say that?
All I heard is ship. That's all I heard.
Oh, yeah, you've gone through all the bad ship. I said ship. But you're on a path, and you can't see it now, but you're on a path that will lead you to a son. A son, an S-O-N.
Mom, you're not gonna be a grandmother.
I didn't say tomorrow. I said the path that you're on. You know, everything in life is like this chain of dominoes. So it's always, you know, where the first domino falls. You know, it's been said to me that any good thing in your life, if you follow the steps back, you'll find that it started with something drastic. And you've had some drastic things in your past. You've had some false starts. It keeps getting better, you know, and I'm getting that assurance that you have learned as you're going along. And mark my words, your first child will be a boy.
He didn't want to know.
Sorry. Okay. Now, are you in a transitional period relationship-wise, like you're halfway out of one relationship and halfway into another? Okay. The one that you're leaving it's a good thing for you to leave, and the one that you're coming into, the new one, she's very, very sweet. I think it's rough. I think it's rough. Oh, that's so cute. You see how happy they look. Yes, you can.
So, all right. So, who else has any?
I do.
Yep. Go right ahead. Who would you like?
Either one.
Okay.
Actually, mine's kind of serious. I have a lot of problems with my eyes right now, and I just want to know in the future, hopefully sooner than later, if my vision will get better.
I could see treatment, like I could feel it. Do you have kind of macular degeneration or something that makes your eyes feel scratchy and hurty?
I've got cataracts.
Oh, okay. Because they'll operate on that.
Yeah, I'm waiting
Yeah.
for my surgery.
Yeah, that will help.
I'm afraid of how it's going to
No, it'll help, but they'll give you drops, and the drops suck. Oh, pardon my French. The drops aren't fun.
Bleep,
You know?
bleep, bleep.
Bleep. I just, if you want me to draw cards on, I will, but it's just like what I picked up on is you're that's why I start blinking my eyes, because I can feel that. You'll be all right. You'll be all right, but the treatment isn't going to be fun.
Okay. I know my surgery got canceled because of COVID, and I haven't heard anything, so I just hope it's gonna be soon.
Not soon enough for you, I'm sure, but the one thing that helps you out there is that I think they're going to switch doctors. Something's switched up. And that works out more in your favor. It switches you to something better, whether they're switching doctors or switching locations. Something's switched. It's an upgrade.
Does anybody else have any questions from over in this area, by any chance? Yes.
There's a move coming in. Is it a big one?
Sorry?
We have a move coming in.
A move. Okay. Who would you like to read?
Yeah, they get read by me all the time. Go
Okay,
ahead.
wonderful. All right, just wasn't sure.
You go.
All right.
It's so good to see you guys
So
here. Thank
so
you
far,
for coming.
what I would say for our lovely young ladies actually in the back.
Would you like a basket?
Right there.
Look at that. That's not.
Are you thinking about moving somewhere sort of a little bit more warmer? No, because what I picked up though is actually, it's the only card that really popped out right when I did the shuffling. It's of a guy that is actually on the beach listening to the shell.
Wheelchairs and beaches don't go.
No, I know.
I know what it is.
Go ahead, say it.
The new house has more trees than your old house, doesn't it? Yeah, because you look at this and the umbrella point.
Yeah.
Because of the way it flew out, and you don't realize this, but I know they live in a house that just has no trees.
Okay.
I mean, this one, but yeah, but pretty much it's exposed.
So, yeah, since Sally's been reading for you for a while, so she knows more or less your energy.
Yeah.
So it's like but yeah, I totally see that though, because actually the umbrella is actually made of wood, and so you've got listening more or less actually on the shell. So, yeah. So basically though, do you want to sort of explain to people how a good way to reading cards are?
People get confused with the cards because they pull out that booklet, and and it gives you a 10-card spread, which is way too much. Don't worry about what anybody else says about your cards. Once you get a tarot deck, pick the tarot deck that has the artistry that you like. And thanks to Google, you can you can see what all the tarot cards you're going to buy look like before you buy them. And just get the one with your artwork that you like looking at. And don't worry about what anybody says about a card. For the first week, you take your deck and make it your deck by every day shuffling it and asking one question and drawing one card. And by the end of 2 weeks, you'll feel like you know the cards a little bit better, and the pictures will start speaking to you, and then you're ready to get to know about things like suits and the numbers and those sort of things. But bond with your cards first. You're gonna do it anyway if you get a deck of cards. Anytime I get a deck of cards, I can't wait to get them out and just look at each and every one of them.
So, and how I actually chose my deck though, actually someone was telling me all along to be able to get these cards here, and they're called gate. If I do pronounce the name wrong, I do apologize. But Toro.
Tarot.
Yeah.
It rhymes with barrel.
So yeah, I actually picked them up and I actually put them on my hand, and I was actually feeling like a heartbeat. This is actually the best way I was actually feeling them. And like what Sally was saying, these pictures are really, really bright. They're a little bit different though compared to what Sally's cards are, but these ones were more or less speaking to me. Any readings?
Yes, Shirley wants to know about her husband Bob. She's asking Chris for that.
Okay, wonderful. So right now we actually have two monitors actually on the live chat right now. Trevor and Ollie are actually on there, both producers tonight. Ollie's actually the producer, actually of the Queen of Ooga Booga. So if there's any questions whatsoever, again, they'll feel free to basically send them in. They'll be able to actually forward them to us, just like our crowd here tonight, which is really wonderful. How are you guys doing?
All right.
Awesome. So tonight is actually the first combined actually of Haunting Live and the Queen of Ooga Booga. Actually, we're looking for more actually journeys down the road. So let's see what the cards say. All right, so the question about Bob. All right, so the first one I picked up though, which is actually a fountain. All right, that one shows that basically two people going forward, one person going back with actually a balloon. Now, right when I look at that one strongly, actually for Bob, okay. Now the thing though is Bob's life is going to be going forward, but the thing though is there's one thing that's actually holding him back altogether. That's exactly what I'm picking up. Now, right when I'm looking actually at it, even though it's got the child actually on it, actually holding the balloon, I'm not looking at that directly. I'm looking actually at the top picture. That's what stands out more or less to me, which actually Sally actually had said a couple weeks ago.
Absolutely.
Actually on your podcast.
Yeah, always what draws your eye.
Yeah. Now the next one though I picked up, which is actually 7 in Cups. It actually has a person looking actually in the window, looking at books. The books basically mean metaphor actually of life. Okay? That's what I'm picking up. So that way the life actually is actually being there. Trying to decide which way more or less actually that you can go. Nothing to be worried about. It's more calm. Now the only thing that I'm actually also picking up, which is actually this one here. All right? I don't really call them by the suits. I actually call them more or less right now by the pictures for you guys, actually on live, and also for the audience. So this one here actually has a guy talking with loved ones, trying to figure out which way he's going to go actually within life. So all together, what I would say though is with Bob's life. All right, Bob sort of knows exactly what he wants. But the thing though is you got to be patient with it all together. You can't rush it. That's what I'm more or less picking up. What are you picking up by these cards?
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying not to look at your cards, and
Nope.
we'll talk about the deal with me and Eva
Yeah.
before, because that's something that happens.
Yeah.
But I'm just fascinated by your cards. You've got, is that the Empress there, or is that the 3 of Cups?
That there's 3 cups.
Oh, okay. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, it's funny because it looks like the good cards on the bad side and the bad cards on the good side. So he might flip things around,
Yeah.
and he might be going through a little bit of a negativity period, but it does make him cautious, and this is a time where we need to be cautious. But overall, that 3 of Cups is a really good card, and the picture, you don't need to be a psychic. No, you're looking at a happy picture.
Yeah.
A little nostalgic, but there's that joy there, and there's joy in his life, even though he's a little nostalgic.
Yeah. So that's basically it.
So, the story I was going to tell, one of my good friends, Eva, and she calls herself the Gypsy Lady, but this is going back, about 40 years. And we'd meet for coffee every Saturday morning. She'd bring her cards, and I'd bring mine. And we'd spend the rest of the day debating what this card meant and what that card meant. And we finally decided that we were good enough friends that we were going to come up with this rule that whenever I did a reading for her, she would not look at the cards, and vice versa. And we've done that ever since. And I'll tell you, I've gotten some of the best readings of my life from Eva, once I quit arguing with her about what the cards meant.
So.
Yeah, how many people out here have a deck of cards? Okay, okay, so I know that you two do use your cards, right?
Oh,
yeah. Okay, but how about you two? Do you draw your cards regularly?
Did not recently.
Oh.
Not much recently, but
Oh, you should. You should. Well, the tarot was always my first love, And if you tune into my channel, I already have several videos up on connecting with your deck and getting to know your deck a little bit better. Just take time to, watch them. It's all right now. It's all really basic beginner stuff, but you go pretty much from the beginner to adept quickly once you connect with your deck. Which deck do you have?
Mine is, it's actually a really that the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. It reminds me of a Tim Burton type style.
Oh, okay. You see, I have one that's similar, that remind me a little of the Tim Burton style. It's called the Deviant Moon Tarot. And I like that one. And that's got, well, anyhow. And which one do you have?
The deck that I have was made by Michelle Malche. And the Angel Watcher? Yeah, the Angel Watcher Tarot.
Oh, okay.
She made them with Elfie Music, helped do some of the artwork on them, and I've known Michelle for quite a few years, so I wanted to buy the deck that she had created.
And does it resonate with you?
Yes, most of the time I like it.
Have you thought about maybe looking at different decks too?
I've looked at some, but some of them seem a little bit too complicated in what I like just the ease of Michelle's, and it's maybe because I know her,
You understand it? Yeah. Well, just make sure you start using them though. You gotta use them. Okay.
All right. Well, for those who are actually tuning in right now, we do say thank you very much. We're going to be doing actually a little bit of card reading afterwards. If you guys like to be able to get some card reading actually done, or even actually next time that you're in Stratford, be able to stop in and see Sally, where can they get you?
At the spa near the tracks.
All right.
And give them a call and make an appointment.
Yep. So again, those from us to you, happy haunting.
Happy haunting from your queen. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Subscribe to OGPS Filming /HauntingLIVE. Check us out online across the internet, live at Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.